I don't understand why we treat prisoners like they are criminals of war or something like that. It's like we put every individual in a cell and we put two of them in a cell and some of them kill each other, but they have no privacy whatsoever. So like if I was in control, I would be like, yo, bro, can we at least give them a self on their own? Like I don't know how we can make that possible, but like these cells are already small enough. So why don't we, I don't know, give them pods or something like that so they can sleep in and they have soundproof pods and then we could put two in the cell. Like I truly don't understand the cruelty that we have towards these people. Like it's unnatural. It's very unnatural. And I don't know if anybody else notices that. The only reason why you wouldn't notice is because you're like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'll never get in trouble like that. Um, and it's like my dad, for example. I'm so surprised that he still says this. He came from Haiti and he uh he came illegally, and one day while he was going to work, the police came by, the immigration police came by and they took him away and then they put him in jail. And he's dealt with jail. You know what I mean? Just doing trying your hardest and then getting put into a cell is ridiculous. So then he says recently, we are talking about gay people, and he was like, they deserve to go to jail. Like it's good that they go to jail. I'm like, why would you put a person in jail for being who they are? So no, that's not right. That it's not in the Bible. They shouldn't be doing that. They should be put in jail. So it's like you agree with the officers that put you in jail. That hits me. It's like, when are you going to understand? Because even when these people get put in jail, they're like, yeah, yeah, we should put other people in jail too. We should torture them. We should do this. We should do that. It's like, how far does your cruelty go, and how far does your blindness go? You know what I mean? So that's why I love this book that I'm reading. It's so interesting how A Court of Thorns and Roses. It's so interesting how it's like, okay, she killed a fey creature, and instead of this guy killing her or imprisoning her, this could have been a book about a person in prison, but we don't even write books about people in prison. You realize that, right? Like that is taboo information. You know, if you were to write about that in a book, nobody would pick it up. Nobody would say it is a bestseller. They would be like, oh, yeah, they deserve to go to jail. You know, jail's bad and they deserve to be in a bad place. Like, do you truly believe that? If you truly believe that, then you are not human. You must be something else. Like when they say aliens exist, bro, I look at everybody. I'm just like, yo, you're an alien. Because the things that you think are so far out here that I'm just like, how can you think like that? Do you know what it is to be a human being? And maybe my thoughts have changed from when I was a child till now, dealing with the police and dealing with hospital stays that were a month long. Imagine being confined for a month long. And they say, you know, May tries to say, she's like, you're sick, you're sick. There's a difference between you and a felon, for example. And I'm like, there's no real difference between us. You know what I mean? A felon goes to prison. I don't know how it works. Is jail, prison? I forget how it works. There's prison. Let's just say it's prison. How does that work? The first place that you get put into, I think it's called jail. So you get put into jail and then you go in front of a judge and they tell you this is why you're going to jail and blah blah blah. And you know the only thing that can get them out is good behavior or a bail. So if somebody pays your bail, okay, you're out of jail, but you still have to go to court and then you're still liable to go to prison or county prison, whichever one. As a mental health person, you know, it's the same process. except it's just a little bit different. You go to the mental hospital, they ask if you want to be put in as voluntary or involuntary. So you get put in as involuntary. You have to meet a judge every 2 weeks, and before you get to be let out, the judge has to be like, "Yeah, you can be let out. We'll let you out, and you've shown your case, and either you have to do this or that, but you'll still be let out of this hospital." If you go involuntarily, it's a little bit different. If you take your medication that you're supposed to take, you take the shot, they let you out as soon as, like, after the shot, they give you like 2-3 days, and then you're out of there. It's kind of like making bail. Your bail is medication. That's your bail. So we're not much different than these people, than these criminals. So when May is like, you're different. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not very much different. My rights still get taken away. The police still come and get me. I could get handcuffed if I'm not in the right state of mind, if I'm too far gone. And in my whole life, I'm wondering, will I lose my head again? Will these people be like, you're not doing something right and we need to take you to the hospital? Or what if I go too far gone? That's what a criminal lives with their whole life. They're like, I don't know if I'm going to steal again. I don't know if I'm going to do this again. You give us so much fear, and it doesn't really help us. It's called rehabilitation, but what rehab are you giving to a person when you're just telling them that if they mess up again, we're going to throw you into a place where you cannot get out for longer, and it's going to be longer each period, each time you go. The small difference between mental health and criminals in that respect is that maybe you'll be in this facility for a long time, or you'll be in here for a short time. It all depends on you for a mental health individual, but it all depends on a criminal too. It's like, will you steal again? Will you do that again? Or will you reform yourself and do the right thing? Like, there's so much that I can say, and I don't even want to say it yet, because there's just so much that can go on with a person that has a mental illness. Mental illness is I'm not even sure what the word I'm trying to think of is. It's just unreliable. You don't know what will happen. I mean, as long as you take your medication, you'll be fine. But who knows? Maybe the medication can stop one day. And then you have that fear every single day. Every single day, you're like, I don't know if my medication is going to work today. What if it stops working today? What if it stops working tomorrow? What if it stops working next week? You're constantly thinking that. And then you don't have really any real security except that you go and see your doctor monthly, and and people might think, like, for me, for example, I'm thinking, like, is that the reason why I don't take the 3-month injection? Because it would make it easier for myself. I would have to see the doctor 4 times a year instead of every month, 12 times a year. And it will last much longer. So just in case, if anything happens, the medication runs out by the end of the month. Instead of the end of the month, it will be at the end of 3 months. You'll be much safer. You'll have a much better mindset. And, like, this constant checkup that people have on mental illness individual, I don't know how to say that correctly. Mental health problem. I don't know. Mental illness, mentally ill people. Okay, mentally ill people. So these checkups that you have on mentally ill people constantly has them in a state of paranoia. Like, people don't realize that they create paranoia. You know what I mean? You wouldn't think that. You would be like, no, what are you talking about? Like, they're helping. It's like, no, you're creating a state of paranoia because you're constantly checking on me, telling me you're solidifying the fact that this medication might stop working one day. That is what happens when you constantly check on a person. Because like in the hospital, why do you constantly check on a person? It's because something might go wrong. You know what I mean? So that person now thinks something might go wrong. Something might go wrong. I just have a month of good tithings, and then something might go wrong at the end of the month, because why do I see my psychiatrist every month? And like my sisters are pushing back on my psychiatrist, because my psychiatrist is like, yeah, you've been on this medication for like 2-3 years now. So we can start seeing you every 2 months. I don't have to see you monthly. And then my sister steps in, she's becoming a doctor, and she's my guardian. She's like, no, 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 we want to keep it every month. And they don't understand what type of pressure they're putting on me, because my doctor is saying you'll be fine for 2 months, dude. Like, don't worry about it. I'm trying to make it less stressful for you. You don't have to see me every month. I'll see you every 2 months. And get used to it, because that medication that you're on should keep you checked. You don't have to worry. And then that gives me a I don't know, satisfying feeling, where it's just like, okay, he trusts me. So that means I could trust myself. But then when you have people that don't trust you, that creates a problem. You know what I mean? That's how society works. There are people that want to trust these people. There are people that want to trust criminals. It's like, if we give them enough freedom, maybe they will tell us the next time that they're feeling out of control. Maybe we can learn from it in a different way. It's just like weed, for example. And when I was looking at AI, and I was talking to Gemini, and I was like, what do you think about prison? And it said that prison is a necessary thing, but it doesn't work. I'm like, okay, you just said two negatives there. This isn't Drake, where two wrongs make a right. Like, you just said two negatives. You just said that it doesn't work, but it's necessary. How does that make sense? That's like having an outlet that doesn't work, but it's necessary to be there. Does that make sense? It's like, what's the point of having an outlet? It's just a freaking outlet. It's just for me to feel better that there's an outlet there, but it doesn't work. What, isn't an art piece? It must be an art piece. You know what I mean? Now we have to make sense of the illogic stuff that you're spewing out. We have to make sense of that. And that's what I do every single day. I'm just like, I don't understand what people are doing, what they're saying. I'm in a constant state of like, okay, I don't know what the hell's going on here. I'm not 100% sure of what's going on here. I have my understanding. My understanding is that you're trying your best. I'm trying my best. If I feel like you're not trying your best, I'm going to start acting a certain way. You know what I mean? And then when I start acting that certain way, don't get mad that I start acting that certain way, because you're not trying your best. I keep coming back to this whole Belinda not giving me my money. It's just like working for a job that refuses to pay you. And they're like, all right, I expect you to come on Monday. Remember to come on Monday. Okay, can you remember to pay me? Yeah, I'll remember to pay you. Okay, I'll remember to come on Monday. You show up on Monday, they forget to pay you. You show up on Tuesday, they forget to pay you. You show up on Wednesday, they forget to pay you. And you're just like, all right, so what is this? What is this little deal that we have going on here? Doesn't really make sense to me, bro. I'm showing up like I promised, and you're not paying me like you promised. I'm telling you. And people, like, what you don't understand is that people do take advantage of people with mental illnesses. And you have seen the history that mental health patients have gone through. They've gone through unnecessary surgeries. They've gone through unnecessary abuse. And, you know, the state takes away their right at any moment. At any moment. At any moment. If you're not doing right, if you're not 100% right, like, for example, this guardianship thing, why isn't it getting reevaluated every 3 years or something like that? Why isn't it getting reevaluated? No, because we said that you're incapacitated. Because of that, this will continue on for the rest of your life. What? You kidding me? So the things that I want to change in this world are far beyond what you expect. It's like I notice these different things and I want to change them so badly. You know what I mean? So I will, like, I want people to listen to my recordings and stuff like that and really be like, oh, do you remember that you talked about this? And I'll be like, what are you talking about? It's like, you talked about how you wanted courts to reevaluate guardianships, regardless if they are if they are coherent or not. Even if they're not coherent, we need to reevaluate what's going on, because in your situation, you are not incapacitated. Even your therapist has agreed with you. She said, dude, you don't look incapacitated to me. You look perfectly fine. Not perfectly fine. Of course, you have schizophrenia, but like, you're not incapacitated. Like, you've been showing up to my office for 3 years straight. Like, what? They should be reevaluating this case. And I can get them to reevaluate it, but then I would need to get my therapist to sign off on some paperwork. I would need my psychiatrist to sign off on some paperwork just to say, I don't think that this person is incapacitated. Present it to the court. But then I would need to get a lawyer, and that costs money. And who controls my money? I'm telling you, bro. I'm going to leave it right there, bro. You know, that was a good talk. That was a good talk. Hopefully, if anybody hears this, they're going to be like, there are problems with the system. I believe that there is problems with the system and we need to change them because we're being completely unfair. But yeah, I got stuff to do, bro. I got mad stuff to do. And I just wanted to talk about that. I'm going to get back to A Court of Thorns and Roses. Great book. I'm enjoying it. Yeah.